Right. Good afternoon, morning, evening, whenever you're looking at this. The last lesson we talked about solving equations with combining like terms. Today we're going to talk about adding one more step to that, and we're going to work on distributing again. Before we do that, I want to get us do a few refreshers. So when we multiply fractions, we multiply across the top and then on the bottom. And then, if you can, we can divide those two numbers. 18 divided by 3 gives us 6. I want you to go ahead and pause me and try the you do problem on your own. All right. So if we do that across the top, across the bottom, divide, you also get 6. I didn't mean for both of them to be 6, but goody. All right, next refresh I want to do is solving equations with fractions that have rational coefficients is what we would call them. So I'm going to start by just rewriting my equation. I had you guys do a few problems like this late last week. So when we have a fraction and we're solving equations, you should have heard me at least at one point say that we use the reverse PEMDAS to solve equations because we are trying to undo the stuff right here with my x, and since we're trying to undo it, we use PEMDAS backwards. So I don't see any subtraction, I don't see any addition, I do see division. I have a divided by 3, so that's what I'm going to get rid of first. So to get rid of a divide by 3, we multiply both sides by 3. Those are inverses, so they cancel. 4 times 3 is 12, and we divide this by 2 because this is 2 times x. The inverse of multiply by 2 is to divide. Inverses cancel, and I get 6. So again, we multiplied both sides by the denominator, and then we divided both sides by the numerator. I want you to pause me and try these next two you-do problems. Look at this as a reference to help you. It is the same thing with different numbers. If you get stuck, unpause me and come check out what I'm doing for help, and then pause me again to try the next one. But again, I want you to try your best on these two problems. Go ahead and pause me now. All right. Let's see. I'm going to just go through the work here really quick. All right, there's your two answers. Check your work, see how you did, fix any mistakes, and let me know if you need any help. All right, now that we've done a little bit of some review, let's actually get into what we're going to do today. So what you need to do, if there's a number outside of the parentheses, you need to check both sides to see if you can simplify by distributing before you solve. Now, I have some steps here that we're going to use to help us work through these problems. So we're first going to distribute, then we will combine like terms, then we will draw the line down our equal sign, and then we will solve for our variable. In some cases, you might not have to combine like terms. In some cases, you will. And I have two examples of that right here. The first one, we won't have to combine like terms. We're just distributing and then solving. And then 2, we do have to combine and then solve. All right, so I'm going to do these first two. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to start by doing step 1, which was to distribute. So if you guys remember, right, that's when we take our number outside. Oh no, what's going on? There we are. Now we're back. we're going to take our number outside and we're bringing it inside. And each of these arrows represents multiplication. 2 times h, they stick together and give us 2h. 2 times 100 gives us 200. And then that equals 3,000. Let's see, I don't see anything else with an h, and I can't combine the 200. There's nothing else over here that can combine with. Again, we don't touch this 3,000 yet. Imagine that's on like a different side of a wall here, and we're only looking to see if we can combine anything on this side. And then now we can solve. Would I move the 2 or the 200 first? Hopefully you're like, Miss, the 200, and you would be correct. I'm going to subtract 200 from both sides. These are inverses, so they cancel. And I get 2h equals 0 minus 0, 0 minus 0. That becomes a 2, that becomes an 8. And we have 2,800. Now I have 2 times h, so I'm going to get rid of that 2 times by dividing. Inverses cancel. And then 28 divided by 2 is 14. Add on those 2 zeros. All right, distribute it, and then we just solve. You guys have been great at solving, so we're just adding that one more extra step. This one has us distribute and combine like terms. So I'm going to do the same thing I did over here. I'm going to bring my number outside to the 2 things inside. Remember, it doesn't touch this 5 because that is not in the parentheses. 4 times 2x gives me 8x. 4 times 3 is 12. The minus 5x just comes right back down. And we have equals 72. Draw the line down the equal sign. Now, right looking at this, I see that I can combine 2 things together. I see my 8x and my negative 5x. Remember, your sign in front of it matters. 8 minus 5 is going to give me 3x. There was nothing else I could combine with the 12, so I'm just going to write that down. And we have equals 72. 72 is on the other side of my wall, so we leave that alone. There's nothing else I can combine with my 12, nothing else I can combine with my 3x, so now I can solve. Would I move the 3 or the 12 first? So I'm going to move the 12 first. Inverses cancel. 2 minus 2 is 0, 7 minus 1 is 6. I have 3 times x. I get rid of that by dividing. 3's cancel, and I get x equals 6 divided by 3 is 2, add on the 0. Alright, if you need to look at this longer, go ahead and pause me. I'm going to keep moving on. So now we're getting into fractions. This is where that stuff came in from the refresher at the beginning. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to distribute my number outside to the inside. Again, it leaves the 3x alone because that's not inside my parentheses. 1/2 times 10 is 5, and then we have the x. Half of 2 is 1, or 2 divided by 2, and that minus sign comes down. The 3x follows. Draw the line down our equal sign. Can I solve this, or are there things to combine? What do you think? Hopefully you're saying there's things to combine. If you see something that's outside of the parentheses before you even distribute, that tells you that you're going to have to combine. So right away from the get-go, I know I'm going to have to combine like terms because I see something else outside of my parentheses. So let's go ahead and combine our two things with x's. And again, notice how I'm including the sign. So we have a 5x and a 3x, which gives us 8x minus 1, negative 25. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Inverses cancel. Negative 25 plus 1, I'm going to get less negative. So I'm going to have negative 24. 8 times x, so I can divide both sides by 8. Those cancel, and I get x equals 3. My 24 was negative, my 8 was positive. Opposite signs tells me negative answer. So I get x equals negative 3. Now that fraction one wasn't too bad because 1/2 of 10 gave us a nice number of 5, and 1/2 of 2 gave us a nice number of 1. Now this next one doesn't necessarily do that. If you need more time to get down example 3, go ahead and pause me. Otherwise, we are going to move on and do problem 4. So I'm going to do the same thing we've been doing. I have a number outside of my parentheses, so I'm going to distribute it. It's going to come here, and then it's going to come here. I'm going to rewrite 4 equals 2/5 times x is going to give me 2/5 x. Just like when we add a whole number times a whole number and they suck together, like 2 times 2x was 4x, does the same thing with the fraction. You just stick the 2 together, and then 2/5, there's a plus sign there, times 10. Now, I'm going to work on that just off over here in the white. So when we are multiplying, underneath that 10, I can imagine there is a 1 there. And now I can easily multiply across. 2 times 10 is 20. 5 times 1 is 5. 20 divided by 5 gives me 4. So I'm going to rewrite this as 2/5 x plus 4. So again, we do 2 times 10, which is 20, and then divided that by 5. Draw the line on our equal sign. And now we can solve. Okay. All right. Now that we have, let's see, so we distributed our 2/5 to the x and the 10. We multiplied 2/5 and 10 together over here to get 4. Remember, it was 2 times 10 divided by 5. We get rid of our addition first by subtracting from both sides, and those cancel. 4 minus 4 is 0. And now we have this fraction in front of our x. And then this is again from what we did earlier. Do I get rid of the 2 or the 5 first? And hopefully you remember the 5. Remember from up above that we're going to solve it in reverse PEMDAS. So you can say SADMAD. There's no subtraction, there's no addition, but there is a division, and that is the divided by 5. To get rid of a divide by 5, we're going to multiply both sides by 5. Those cancel, and I get 0 equals 2x. And now I can get rid of the multiplication. This is 2 times x, divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 0. All right. I know that was a lot. Again, if you ever need to follow along and get some stuff written down and I'm going too fast, just pause me. That is the good thing of videos. So pause me, get down what you need. Now, we've done 4 examples here, and you have some guided practice or some independent practice below. So I would like you now to move on to the independent practice problems and try your best. The spicy is only if you're feeling up for it, if you need a challenge and you feel like the rest of this is too easy. But I'm going to be looking for you to complete all of these problems and then move on to your mastery check. So again, complete these 5 problems, do your mastery check, and then let me know when you have finished. All right, thank you, and have a great night.